Triple E EDC back again with another knife video. Your eyes do not deceive you. This is a Benchmade 940 with no axis lock. Actually, this is the Benchmade 9400. This is the new automatic version of the Benchmade 940. Let's go ahead and take a look at it against the 940 so you can see what the differences are here. So this is the 940 Smoky Mountain Knife Works version. This is the 943. And this is the 940 20th Anniversary Edition. So you can see a couple different iterations of the 940 here, and all of them, of course, have axis locks. All of them, of course, have the regular thumb studs like you would see on any other Benchmade axis lock knife. However, this is an auto, and it actually is different in a lot of key ways from the Benchmade 940. So let's go ahead and take a look at what makes this knife different, and I'll go ahead and give you some first impression conclusions with respect to this. This is more of a first impressions video than a actual review. So let's go ahead and take a close-up look at the knife real quick. As you can see, there's no thumb stud on this. It has your button lock for the automatic knife. It has your general same styling as the 940. This is the 943, of course, but it has the same exact handle as the 940. So the styling on the handle is basically exactly the same from this end over. However, it is a little bit different in the pivot and where the axis lock would go. So let's also take a look at the back of the knife here. So you got the arrow pocket clip here. A little bit of a different pivot, and this, of course, is a first production. Now, interestingly, this is an unnumbered first production. A lot of times, Benchmade will number their first productions. I'll give you an example here. This is a first production Benchmade Freak. You can see they number it. So this is the first time I've actually seen a first production in a modern or contemporary, I should say, Benchmade knife where it wasn't numbered. I'm not exactly sure why that is. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the differences between these two knives. So first of all, the glaring thing that's out here is the button lock here. So it is a fully automatic knife, which means that you have a spring that winds it up, you push the button, and bam, it's out. So it also has a lock on the back. So if you don't want to deploy it, you push the lock up, doesn't deploy, and then you pull the lock back and deploy. Also, there's no thumb studs, so there is no thumb stud deployment on this knife. The pivot here is interesting. I will say this. Let's take a look at the pivots on the 940s. So the 940 pivot is as basic as you could get in a pivot. It's just a screw, right? That's all it is. It's not even an attractive screw at that. But we've lived with it for a number of years. Many iterations of the 940 have come and gone, and they've all been well-regarded, excellent knives. This pivot is different. This pivot is not just a screw. It actually has sort of a flat, this is flush, by the way, which is interesting because the pivot here, the screw on this one, is not flush, or any of these really, but this is flush. The back of the pivot is also very similarly designed. Now the back of the regular 940s are flush. But you have this sort of interesting pivot here. The body is aluminum, just like a normal 940. The normal 940 comes with the green aluminum handles with the purple anodization, so the 9400 also comes that way. I assume they'll come out with some additional versions of this at a later date, but for now, they've gone with the original version here. The steel on this is S30V, so again, it goes with a lot of the original versions of the, or not original, but current contemporary versions of the 940, so this is an S30V as well. Some of the nicer ones, like this is an S90V, the 940-1 is an S90V as well. This is an M390, so there's a couple different steels out there on the 940. There's more than that as well, but this one's starting out with the S30V, and of course the 940 long time ago, 20 years when it was introduced, 20 years ago. Started out in different steels, went through 154 CM and a couple others as well. The as far as how hard this hits, so let's go ahead and take a look at this compared to a ProTech, and actually a ProTech that has a similar profile to this knife. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ProTech Invictus. So let's just take a look at the knives first. So again, these are very similarly profiled knives. They're both slim knives, at least in the height dimension here, and they are not, they're not the same size, but they're relatively similarly sized in the blade and mostly similarly sized in the handle. Now I'm going to go ahead and put these up to the camera, and I'm not going to say a word. I'm just going to shoot them out so you can hear the difference between the two. That one hit the camera stand, so I'll do that again. And so you can probably see that the ProTech does hit harder. What I will say is the Benchmade just comes across as extremely smooth all the way around. I don't think it's meant to kick extremely hard. It's meant to just deploy and be smooth from the time it deploys all the way through, and not jump out of your hand. It's not the type of thing that will jump out of your hand if I just hold it like this. You'll see it flicks a little bit, but doesn't want to jump out of your hand. However, with the ProTech, you really get some kick on that. That being said, this one isn't meant to, like I said, shoot it out of your hand. What it's meant to do is just be a reliable knife that shoots out every time and is ready for use. All right, and so one of the things I do want to talk about, though, is the pocket clip here. So the Smoky Mountain Knife Works one comes with a deep carry pocket clip. The 20th anniversary edition comes with a mini deep carry pocket clip. The 940, this is not the original clip on it, the 943 comes with that, 3-hole Benchmade clip that looks like a gigantic clip. I don't think I have any current Benchmades with that clip on it, otherwise I'd go ahead and show it. But I was expecting that clip to be on here, or at least a deep carry clip like this one, or this one. So I'm a little surprised that they went with this one, because a lot of people actually don't like this clip. And so, again, I'm pretty surprised they went with this one. I'm not sure it was the best choice. I think they probably should have gone with the deep carry clip like you have on this 940, especially in this black, would have been very nice. Or at the very least, the other old school Benchmade clip is a throwback, since you're doing the original colors on this 940. So, or 9400, I should say. Other than that, I'll tell you like this. The 940 has been popular for a number of years because, well, for a couple of reasons. One is it really makes an excellent EDC profile here. If you put it up against the, if you put it up against the Paramilitary 2, you can see the difference in pocket that this takes up, right? However, the blade lengths are very similar, basically the same, right? So it's one of the reasons the 940 has been so popular all this time, is it really packs a lot of punch into a small frame. And on top of that, it's supremely fidgetable. You have the open and close with the thumb studs, you have the open and close with the axis lock, you can swing it open and close with just a little bit of a wrist flick. You can even do a downward flick, which I'm not going to do on camera because I might hit something. But a lot of ways to fidget with this knife. This knife is supremely EDC carryable, EDC friendly. It is supremely fidget friendly, and that's really what makes the 940 the 940. This has all of the benefits of the 940 as far as being EDC friendly. Obviously, you have to contend with knife laws. I'm not going to speak on knife laws. Look up your local knife laws, whether an automatic's allowed. But assuming you can carry one, basically the same considerations you'd have for using this versus this, I think are there. The big difference, though, is that this is not really fidget friendly. And so you know, there feels like there's something a little bit missing with the 9400 that I would like to see, but it's just not there. Now, that being said, do I not like this knife as a result? No, I actually really like this knife. But just be aware when you get it, you're going to get it, and the first thing you're going to notice is, where's my fidget? Because that's what you're used to on the 940. So just be aware that you're not going to find it on the 9400. That being said, you know, it's kind of fun after a while to just do this a bunch of times, and it still has the same ergonomics, same build, same, you know, quality, same pretty much everything else. So I'm pretty happy with the 9400. I still think I would give the edge to the manual. I just like manuals better. It's the same thing with the Socom Elite. When I reviewed both the Socom Elite manual and the automatic, the manual won out. The manual's the one I kept. I sold off the automatic. So while I do love automatic knives, you know, I've got plenty of Protechs still. I think I've got 2 or 3 Protechs currently, and, you know, I'm not going to stop buying automatic knives. If you're buying this expecting the fidget factor, it's not going to be there. But that's not to say you shouldn't buy it. $230 for this is a little bit of a steep price. Is it worth it? If you're willing to spend $270 on a 940-1, you know, I think it's probably worth it. But just like anything else in the world, when this price comes down in the secondary market, this is probably when a good time to pick it up would be. If you can find one for $180, $190, even $200 on the secondary market, once they flood the market, that would be a good pickup, and I think the price would be much better at that price point. Still, you know, like I said, pretty happy with it, and I do think it'll be a hot commodity. I think a lot of people will want it, and deservedly so. I also think that if you're checking this out, you should check out the Benchmade Mediator. So the Mediator, I can't talk about this without talking about the Mediator. The Mediator is between 206 and 250, depending on where you're buying online. I've seen it as low as 206, brand new, which is $24 less than this is, or maybe even more. I don't know if it's exactly 230. It might be 232 or something. Don't have the prices in front of me, but either way, it's cheaper, or it can be found cheaper online than the 9400. And it has S90V steel, but one of the big differences is this has an aluminum body and that has a G10 body. It's a little bit bigger, so it's more in line with the Protech Invictus as far as size, although I don't think it's quite as tall. I do plan to get one of those on the channel, and hopefully I can do a head-to-head with this and the Mediator, and also the Protech Invictus, maybe do a 3-way battle. That would be pretty interesting, I think. So let me know if you guys want to see that. The Mediator is one of the next pickups I plan to get. And thank you guys for tuning in. First impressions, you know, pretty happy with it. But just remember that it's not going to be the fidget-friendly knife that you're used to with the Benchmade 940. Thanks so much for watching, and enjoy your 9400 auto.